I'm Katie Rouse. I am a partner on Bellwether Strategic Advising Team, and this is our latest video in a series spotlighting leaders across the country who found creative solutions to address their teacher staffing challenges. Today, we are talking with a group of leaders from Village Tech. We've got David Williams, Don Wolf, and Jerry Fry from Village Tech. And before we dive into our conversation, I want to make sure that everyone watching knows they can learn more about Village Tech's 4-day instructional model, as well as other creative approaches to scheduling in our Creativity from Necessity toolkit that you can find on our website. So let's go ahead and dive in. Village Tech made a really interesting change to its schedule to give teachers more flexibility to reduce burnout. You moved to a 4-day instructional model. Tell me a little bit about how you ended up exploring that change.
Yeah, I'll speak to that kind of at the high level first, and then Don and Jerry got to live it in the teacher implementation zone and what has changed since then. So when we entered into 2020, we all remember 2020 quite well. It was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and everything kind of got put back on the table for how do we approach time, how do we approach our schedules and our calendars. And we had some things that were already important to us as a school community. We'd previously had a half-day Wednesday that we had designed so that our half-day afternoon could have time not only for students to engage in various community activities or work opportunities, you name it, homework, go home, rest. That was the idea. And then our teachers would get embedded professional development. We found that the half day was not meeting our needs. And so when we got to this summer of 2020, we put everything back on the table and said, what are we going to do to address where we find ourselves? And we knew then that 50% of our students were going to be online anyway. So with the, lax and regulatory, red tape that we had to walk through at that point, TEA had made it clear that schools can really take the calendar to where they need to take it to meet their school's needs. And we decided to move to this 4-day instructional model.
One thing I'm sure folks watching are really curious about is, did this move to 4 days a week of instruction hurt the academic experience that kids are getting? I know it's something that you all planned around really thoughtfully and carefully, but talk us through both. What are you seeing from an academic perspective, and how did you make the change without sacrificing instructional quality or experience for your students?
Jerry, you want to go first?
Sure. I teach 7th graders, and as part of our beginning of the year, we have the first 8 days of school where we kind of lay out our year with the kids and our students. We just had a conversation at the beginning of the year. That's one of our norms. While they're here, we are in instructional time. They are all in from the time they walk in my classroom. They love their Fridays off, but they spend a lot of time emailing me on their Fridays off. So they want to make sure that they're still working through a project or something, still on track with what they're doing. But like I said, when they walk in the room, the instructions are on the board. They know how to get started, and they come in and get to work. So they're all in when they're here.
Yeah, I'll second what Jerry said. I mean, a good teacher makes use of their time, and we all have the same amount of time regulated by the government for us. And so if you know your time slot and you know what you're doing and you come in prepared and ready. So, I mean, shifting from 4 days to 5 days or whatever is not gonna mess that up at all. If you're planning appropriately. If anything, maybe it'll motivate you to make sure that you don't have any loss of time if you feel like you might have loss of time. But there's just no, it's just a shift in where the time is. There's no loss of it.
Yeah. Well, and when you think about that shift of where the time is, kind of staying the same, but moving it around during the week, how did teachers respond to the change? And did you see an impact on Village Tech's ability to recruit, to hire, to retain your colleagues and team members?
I don't know about that. I don't know if Mr. Williams wants, but I know that like on the floor where everybody boots on the ground people, we were all excited. We are like, yes, we get this time to rest. And a lot of us as team members turn to the like, just don't talk to anybody on Friday. Like just turn off your phone and not even, unless it's an emergency, we're not going to contact each other. Not because we don't love each other, but just like, just make Friday quiet. And that was very necessary and needed. I know we did that on our team. So yeah, everyone got really excited. And I think the excitement is still there 3 years later into this.
Yeah.
And it's spreading inside of our city because there's other ISDs like literally advertising. We have a 4-day a week now. You can drive down the highway and there's billboards. So that kind of push to like honor somebody's time and give them space to like plan and think and be quiet. It's still exciting.
David, what are you seeing from a recruitment perspective as you look to recruit team members for Village Tech? How does this 4-day-a-week model play into recruitment?
Yeah, it's absolutely a critical factor in recruitment. One thing we've seen is a 15% increase in overall staff retention as a result of the 4-day model during a time when really kind of the ship was in rocky waters if we're talking about public education. I mean, Texas initiated a teacher vacancy task force to talk about all of the teacher vacancies. There's tons of conversation at the state level around teachers leaving the profession. And what we're finding is that for all intents and purposes, we've been fully staffed during this time, and we've seen an increase in our overall retention. So those are some real positives that we've identified. Yeah, I would agree. And then what we see is this kind of morale and culture build when people get here, and they recognize the benefit both from a rest side of things, that there's a Friday built in to get some rest. This Friday is one of those. I think we're all looking forward to it. And then there's also the professional development side, because that's really core to our values as a school community, is that we embed professional development throughout the school year. So our calendar has about 27 professional development days built into it, which is critical to teachers having time to design and work together and collaborate and build and make. And so that's been key.
That's awesome. When you think about implementing your 4-day-a-week schedule and having every other Friday for professional development and learning, collaboration, and teaming, logistically, what were the shifts that you needed to make to launch this model, both from a family communication and engagement perspective, as well as kind of thinking through other operational or logistics moves to successfully launch this model?
Yeah, I think if we were to do this again at this present time without the chaos of COVID that provided a really unique opportunity, we'd want to engage in a lengthier process of parent input. But the parent input we had at the time was 50% are going to be online, so we knew it was a viable option for us then. But today we'd want to make sure that we engage in that conversation with our families. I think something that we previously had with half-day Wednesdays that we have yet to bring back with the Fridays are community partnerships, so that families can have some other options within our community, which is a great tie between school and family and neighborhood for parents to be able to decide, okay, my student's going to go to the rec center or the library, or maybe there's a local karate studio like we've had in the past that is willing to do lessons for kids during that time. So I think bolstering those community partnerships would be helpful. And then when you think about operations, one of the biggest challenges to this was figuring out non-exempt staff and working out the hours for non-exempt staff, because you have 1 week that's a 36-hour week, and then you have another week that is a 40-hour week that could be a 44-hour week if you had them for an entire Friday. And then this alternates back and forth consistently. And so we had to really dig into how do we do this, and how do we do it in a way that's in the best interest of the non-exempt staff members so that they're experiencing the benefits of this the most, as opposed to feeling, penalized somewhere along the way, because that was not at all in our thinking. So that was a real challenge for us to kind of pin down.
And kind of sticking with this theme, Jerry, Dawn, what advice would you offer to other school or system leaders who are watching this and who might be interested in implementing the model or pursuing some other creative solution to scheduling?
I think the only advice I would give is just have the conversation. With my team, I'm a team lead for 7th grade, and we have 5 members on our team, and we covet our planning time on Fridays whenever we're on professional development, and we have that team time. We have 4 hours in the afternoon where we get to meet as a team and plan projects for our kids, plan where we're going next. Just opening up the conversations and being able to talk about, what people are looking for, what they're looking at, potential risks. I haven't found one yet in the 4-day work week, by the way. I absolutely love it. And the biggest plus that I have found for my team is my team members are consistently here, because doctor's appointments, anything like that happens on those Fridays off. So we're not having to be away from our kids as much as we normally would be if we didn't have that Friday off. So it's been great. I love it.
I would say, yeah.
I would say 2 things for these people considering it is, one, don't assume that our model works for you, because
Right.
we started with an odd model with like that Wednesday off. Like, we were trying new things already, but try to find a model, because productivity values are changing, and it's a guarantee that your teachers already have a different value than you, highly likely. And so, like, Jerry says, listen to them, see what they consider productive, and where they see productivity in the students, hear them out. And this 4-day work week came out of our administrators listening to us, saying, we were exhausted from the grief that we were going through. We were exhausted from the sicknesses that we were, like COVID the pandemic was a real thing. It was hard.
But let's bounce over to David. We'll put him in the hot spot to give you a second, Don, to think about what other advice you might have for others.
You kind of stumble into things sometimes, and this just was something that we felt was the right thing to do and a good thing to do for kids and staff and families, and so we did it. And now on the back end, we're taking a minute to do work like this and start to unpack it for ourselves and really see, like, what are the benefits and how is it working. And I've listened to a few podcasts lately on the research around productivity, and we find that over 50 hours of work a week is almost pointless for any actual productivity. And we see that play out in our school community, that we're at least the feeling of, I don't have hard data on this, but the feeling of being productive for 4 days feels like a meaningful work for 4 days, and then a chance to breathe, or a chance to retrain and recharge, right? One of those 2 things is going to happen. Whereas Fridays, I don't know if anybody else in their work life, Fridays always had this kind of sense of, well, if I didn't get it tied up by Friday, I can't count on getting it tied up today anyway. So I'm going to maybe invest in the relationships today, or other things that are important, but not necessarily that hard line of productivity. So it's been incredibly refreshing to have this opportunity.
The other thing I was going to tell them is to do something, shift something right now, because the BT admin's risk to do something this big really communicated to the staff that we really are about creative design thinking. I think that, I've been here since, I guess, 2016, maybe 2017. I don't remember now. But 5 years. And in the time that I was here, I hadn't seen something like that happen. It doesn't mean that it hadn't happened in the past, but I had only been there since that time period. And so I think when people high up make creative big decisions, like consistently, every couple of years, it communicates to those people that if that's one of their values, and I would hope it is a value in every organization, that you also, that yes, we really do value creative solutions to relevant problems, and you can also do it, because it really empowered the rest of us. Like, I just saw it kind of infuse all of us with a lot of courage to go ahead and make creative decisions for students, for parents, for the people on our team, like, because they were willing to do this, then we were willing to like shift around maybe the way we teach, or the way, just to provide space for everyone in that time period. So yeah, like, do something. If you don't do this, find another way to be creative or something, because that communicates to the staff below you that you're an organization that does take risks and values creative design.
Thank you all for joining me this afternoon for a quick conversation. Before I wrap us up, I just want to extend my thanks and appreciation to the three of you and to your entire Village Tech community for the work that you do day to day to support kids, families, and your broader community, not only this school year and through the pandemic, but to grow and to create a community where kids can thrive and adults can be whole people too. So thank you all for your work on behalf of your community, and thank you for joining me this afternoon. For folks who have been watching us, as a reminder, there is a detailed case study about Village Tech in our Creativity from Necessity toolkit, and you can access that by scanning the QR code on the screen right now. And be on the lookout for more videos soon spotlighting other leaders using creative approaches to recruit, hire, retain spectacular teachers, ultimately to support kids. So thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.